GoodRx.com/GLP. GoodRx is not insurance but can be used instead of insurance, including Medicare and other federal and state-funded programs.
Now, from Wichita's most listened to sports radio, 97.5 and 1240 KFH. This is Sports Daily with Jacob Albrock and Tommy Kester.
Well, hey, good morning to you, everybody. Happy Friday. Glad you're here with us on Sports Daily. It is Jacob Albrock and Tommy Kester, and we are with you on Sports Daily. It will be a fun program. We're getting closer and closer to football. We have baseball to get us there after a night out for the Royals. Hope everybody was able to catch their breath, and hope the Royals didn't sleep off any of the heat they've been garnering here in the month of July. We'll take a look at some of what they've done in July, which is just insanely different than what they've done the rest of the season, and look ahead to this Mets series this weekend to close things up and get ready for the All-Star break. So that's coming for you. We're going to have Zach Bush stop by, who is the head coach of the Aftershocks, the TBT program. We're going to get a player, but they are all dealing with travel issues. But Zach's going to stop by in the next hour, get us a preview of the Aftershocks and the TBT coming up, tell you how you can participate if you'd like, and maybe learn a little bit about this roster. It looks a little bit different than it has in years past. So, a lot of people think it's going to be a great roster. So we'll talk to Zach about that. We will get you the latest on the NCAA tournament expansion talks, as there was some news in that yesterday, and we talked about it a lot yesterday, but we can get to it. Tommy, good morning. How are you?
Happy Friday. Looking forward to getting into it today. I didn't know what to do with myself last night with no Royals baseball. I went to bed early. I'm like, you know what? If the Royals aren't playing, I'm going to catch up on some sleep, and it was wonderful.
We're going to have plenty of Royals today, a part of What's on Tap, brought to you by Wichita Brewing Company, locations East, West, historic Delano, featuring a rooftop deck. Wichita Brewing Company, pizza here, pizza and beer made here. I stayed up late again, Tommy, because I went to another concert last night.
Man, look at you. Look at you.
I'm dying, though.
You're like
dying.
A real live music connoisseur.
I love live music. You know that. But it was just back to back. It was kind of an accident, right? I wasn't paying attention to the old family calendar when I was like, yeah, we can go to the show last night. It's Wade Bowen, guy we used to listen to all the time back in Texas as we were a young, bright-eyed couple. So it was a great nostalgic show, and he still sounds great, and we had a lot of fun. I tell you this, one, fast beat two-step for me these days, gassed. That used to be like 2 hours nonstop every weekend. But man, with one song, and I don't even know that we made it.
Are you a two-stepper? Like,
Oh,
do you? Oh, really?
Oh,
okay. Yeah. We got to get video of that because I would love to see that.
That's like the only. This was one of the only ways I could, get girls to talk to me. Like, hey, you want to dance? But yeah, very much so. But
you wear your 10-gallon cowboy hat.
No, I never wore a cowboy hat. I got a 10-gallon head, so cowboy hats were never very comfortable for me. Even out riding a horse, I rode a horse at the time in like tennis shoes and a baseball cap.
Yeah, you strike me as a bolo tie kind of guy. Do you own bolo ties?
I have one. As a gag, a buddy that I worked with wore one into our wedding and then gave it to me. So I actually wore it to like a Kentucky Derby party. But no, I like boots and jeans, and that's it. And that's about as far as I get.
I think you should wear a bolo tie for a newscast. Just randomly one day. Don't tell anybody. Don't even draw attention to it. Just put it on.
A gimmick.
And just to get, and see if anybody says anything.
Not much of a gimmick guy on TV. I don't subscribe to that. I would like for people to not I'm more of a gimmick guy on the radio than I am on TV. We have Hawaiian shirt Wednesdays, but no, I don't do much of that on TV. I used to wear my grandpa had real bright, cool colored jackets. He had probably 1,000 suits. So, when I was first coming up, I'd be like, oh, I'll wear an orange jacket on Halloween or a green jacket on St. Patrick's Day. That's about as far as I got. That would not fly here. When I first got here, it was like, no, you ain't doing any of that. Get out of here. We're not doing that.
I think you'd have a lot of. You could be known as the bolo tie guy.
Yeah, I could. I could be known as a lot of things. I suppose that could be one of them. But it's all what's on top. But yeah, my stamina, man, not what it used to be. That comes at you quick. I've just like doubled over, heart pounding, like, whoa, why can I not do that anymore? And my back hurts a little bit this morning. God, getting old sucks. These back-to-back show nights have really amplified how much getting old sucks. You can get old kind of quietly in your own lane where the people around you are also all getting old and it doesn't feel that bad, right? You go to a couple of concerts where everyone around you is young and it is astonishing. You're like, man, when did this happen to me?
We took a dip in the neighborhood pool yesterday, late afternoon, early evening, and it was fun. We were having a good time, and there were a group of probably 5 or 6 people that showed up that I would say were barely 21, and they showed up with a couple 12 packs of Miller Lite, and they were crushing it, and they were young, and like and I just remember thinking like, man, I'm old. Like as I'm sitting in the pool, I'm on the other side of the pool.
Hey, could you keep it down over there?
Guys, like, hey, really, like I'm trying to relax over here. You guys are having too much fun for me. Can you please quiet down a little bit? I felt pretty old.
Yeah, I don't do that. I usually still can get a little loud and annoying, but man, it's just like the physical part of getting old is, it's rough. It's rough. But it was a good time. Wade Bowen's awesome. Kyle Kilgore, who's a local guy, opened for him. He's really good. It's the first time I've heard him.
I know Kyle really well. Kyle.
Oh, really?
Kyle and I, he's a lot younger than I am, but we went to the same college. I was a professor in a former life, and he was one of my students at the college.
Oh, that's cool.
So I know Kyle pretty well.
Yeah, I didn't realize he was local. We looked him up at the other concert we were at. We're like, oh, who's the opener? And it's like, local. That's cool. You get to open for Wade Bowen, who, Wade Bowen at one time was a really big deal. I don't know if that's still the case, but he's awesome. And I thought that was really cool that he got to open that show. But yeah, he was good. He played for 45 minutes, good 45-minute set there. So it was fun. It was a good night. It was 2 good nights. And now I need to, sleep it off a little bit. I'm tired just from being up late. I didn't party too hard. I was actually proud of myself for that. But no, I just like, oh man, back-to-back nights of 11:30. Jeez.
No yellow bellies the last couple of nights?
What yellow belly on Wednesday and a Budweiser last night. We mixed it up a little bit. Spread the love out a little bit. Now I didn't go the entire night with those things. That would be a poor decision. Just start it that way.
Yeah, you switched to PBR about midway through.
No, PBR's headache fuel. Switch to Michelob Ultra usually for me.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, the water beer. Yeah, you got to get to the water beer eventually. I actually needed water after the 2-stepping round. It's like, I'm going to need a minute. I'm going to need a minute. All right. When we come back.
It's like that scene, by the way, in Landman with Billy Bob Thornton, and, he stops drinking and he wants to Michelob Ultra. Well, I thought you stopped drinking. Well, I did stop drinking. I'm drinking Michelob Ultra.
No, this is Michelob Ultra. Yeah, no, that's exactly how I feel. I know myself and I know what I need to be doing sometimes. And yeah, I drink water beer. Grew up on Keystone Light for a reason. You're not going for 30 packs of Budweiser in college for good reason. No, because you gotta stretch out the runway a little bit. That's what that's good for. No endorsements here for any of those delicious beers. My wife is an IPA drinker, so it's always like I'll take an Ultra and an IPA, and they always bring me the IPA and the Ultra. It's very emasculating, but whatever. We'll come back. Let's start with the Royals. We'll have lots coming for you today. Your calls, comments, all welcome as well. 869-1240. Max has got the phone line. We've got your video stream in the comments there. Don't go away. We got more Sports Daily coming right up.
Lightning, hail, tornadoes, flooding. It's the worst of severe weather, and it's coming. Spring brings warmer temperatures, but also dangerous weather conditions. Stay up to date day or night with the Storm Team 12 weather app. You'll get accurate forecasts so you can plan ahead and stay safe. no matter the weather. Download the Storm Team 12 Weather app, brought to you by Stutzman's Greenhouse.
The future of television has arrived. Next Gen TV is here with stunning video, movie theater quality sound, enhanced voice clarity, and interactive features, all upgradable for the future. Learn more at watchnextgentv.com.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea. With 20 plus flavors of sweet and unsweet iced tea, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite, or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say, drink tea, be happy.
They're not just the canvas of our imagination. They tell a story. Clouds affect the events of your day. Sometimes they growl, sometimes they inspire, but they're always the messengers of nature's mood written in the sky. Storm Team 12 understands the language of clouds. We're dedicated to decoding their message so you know what to expect. Behind every cloud, there is a story waiting to be told. Trust Ross Jansen and Storm Team 12, alerting you first to the impact on your life.
Jim Rome here, lighting up your afternoons on The Jim Rome Show. Catch me starting at 2 on Wichita's #1 sports radio, Kansas Fan Headquarters, 97.5 and 1240 KFH.
What is GMFB Overtime?
It's Peter, Jamie, Kyle, and Akbar breaking down the NFL 5 days a week.
It's okay to be excited.
It's this, that, and a whole lot of fantasy. It's football for everyone.
Weekdays at 10 a.m. on KSCW.
Odyssey is one of the most influential audio and entertainment brands in the nation. You already know Odyssey's iconic local radio brands in Wichita. But did you know Odyssey has the country's best collection of music, news, and sports brands? Odyssey is also a premium podcast creator, major event producer, and digital innovator. Odyssey brings people together across the country and right here in Wichita. Odyssey also delivers meaningful radio and digital audio results. Find out our story and impact at odysseyinc.com/Wichita.
Make yourself known now. 831001 in traffic pursuit.
Oh my God, here.
Investigate TV Plus begins with real people.
We investigate stories that impact you
And inspire change every day.
Something is broken.
Real problems.
Why are they hiding it?
And real solutions.
My daughter was dying in front of me.
What was your reaction when he said that?
Investigate TV Plus, weekdays at 3:30 p.m. on KWCH.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea. With 20 plus flavors of sweet and unsweet iced tea, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite, or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say, drink tea, be happy.
Mornings are busy. We're here to make your mornings better. We report the stories that affect you.
3 more hospital lies from contaminated apple juice just a day after the FDA issued a recall.
We're here to make your mornings better.
Closing east and westbound lanes of K96 for repairs.
With 12 News, you're prepared for your whole day.
Scattered thunderstorms across the state into the afternoon.
Stay a step ahead with 12 News this morning on KWCH and KSCW.
Daily is on KFH.
Come Summer Concert Series back at the Capitol Federal Amphitheater in Andover. Series returns tonight with Jet City Live on stage. Gates open at 6:30. Show starts at 8. Free live music, food trucks, Friday night fun all summer long. You can find the full schedule at knssradio.com and kfhradio.com. Thanks for being here with us on Sports Daily. Jacob Albrecht, Tommy Castor. Thanks for watching us on 12 News Connected, on Facebook, on YouTube, on X. You can chime in any way you'd like. We've got it all for you. You, of course, listening on the Odyssey app, you can hit the little microphone button and leave us your voice messages. And thanks to those that might be catching us now on the iHeartRadio app. We've got you all kinds of different ways, and we're glad we do. All right, Tommy, let's start with the Royals. A day off. Boy, it's hard because you don't want to see days off when you're on, a hot streak like this, but the Royals needed a day off. It had been a long time. And in the last few games in that Pirates series, you had major usage out of the back end of the bullpen. So that was a good time for a day off, as long as it doesn't kill the offensive momentum that they've been gaining. And boy, they've been gaining a lot of momentum in July. I pulled these numbers before yesterday, so they'll slide down the rankings some. So I'm going to kind of summate where they were in July, because they didn't play a game yesterday. But they were essentially, top 7 to 10 in runs, home runs, batting average, OPS, like all of those numbers that they've basically been DAL in Major League Baseball for the first 3 months of the season. That's all turned a corner in July. I don't know how sustainable it is, but as we've mentioned before, the law of averages says this should happen, because this is not an on paper worst offense in baseball kind of team. They're more of an average offense with really good pitching. They just hadn't been that until this month this year.
Yeah, I think it's really important to figure out how sustainable that can be and make sure that what they've done so far through the first 10 days in July is not just a flash in the pan. It's not something that will go away. I think the only downside with all of it, and I'm trying not to be glass half empty here, but the only downside is that, they got a day off yesterday, but you go into a series against the Mets, then you're off for almost a week, and so right as they're starting to heat up offensively, they take a break. And so that's the only challenge. And hopefully there's a way that they can bottle up some of this power and the offensive production, and the fact that, and I know this is an intangible, but the clutch factor that they hadn't had early in the season that they've been able to show over the last week or so, bottle that up and see if there's a way that they can keep that going after the All-Star break.
And what's crazy too is at the beginning of the week, we probably would have said, even as they, had a nice series against Arizona and a good finish to the Seattle series, it was like, man, maybe the All-Star break can cure what ails them, right? Like maybe a nice long break. So I think probably we cannot pay too much attention to a long break. I mean, it's always hard. It's going to be hard for everybody. I think, Salvi finding a power stroke and just getting to essentially what he's been his entire career. I think I saw today this season has been his third lowest OPS since he became a starting catcher in the big leagues. Well, if he can get back to what he normally is, that's going to mean he's hot for a while to lift that up. I don't know how many home runs Bobby Witt Jr. is going to hit this year. I don't think this is like a 40 home run year watch for him. It's probably more like 25, but he's never been the problem, of course, because he has so many things. I've said it a million times, and I hate going back to this kind of pressure, but man, the biggest move and the biggest development for this offense is going to be if Kaggs turns into something before the end of this year. It's the biggest difference. He and Salvi. It's the biggest difference, though, from what we saw when they were struggling. He gives them that thing that they need as like his greatest strength as a baseball player. He's young, though, and that expectation isn't fair, but it is what it is. They called him up too early for a reason. And if he can find it, it's the most impactful thing that will happen to them, I think. Regardless of trade deadline, regardless of anything else, it's probably going to be the biggest thing that happens for this team.
Well, and he's found his power over the last week also. I mean, outside of that one multi-homer home run game that he had early on, right after they called him up, it had been a dry spell for him, and he was getting frustrated. You could tell he was pressing, he was taking his lumps, all those different things. Over the last couple of games, he's broken out a little bit. Now the average is still very low. He's not getting on base. The OPS is low, obviously. But if he can take the little shreds of what he's been able to find over the last few games and continue to develop in that way, I don't think there's any reason to not expect that he'll be where he needs to be by the end of the season. And I wonder, like, how
Which is
quickly
where,
will
though?
that come along,
Like,
right?
where does he need to be, though? That's
I mean, I certainly with an average higher than 150,
sure.
right? Like get that average up over the Mendoza line, provide a little bit of punch in that lineup, to where pitchers are, taking notice of you more than what they currently are. They know that they don't have to throw him anything, and he's going to chase, and he's going to, end up on the bench. So I mean, make yourself a threat in that lineup. The question has always been, since they brought him up, how long is it going to take him to find his way in the bigs? And I was concerned for a while. After this last series, I'm not as much concerned. It's coming along. I've noticed even little tiny things like his approach, the patience is a little bit better than what it was when they first called him up. And I think if those things continue to snowball, then yeah, he'll be a formidable piece in that lineup, probably sooner rather than later.
It's his approach can be something that can be worked on in a long break too. Like, he hasn't had a minute to catch his breath. An all-star break could be the best thing for him that could have happened, right? A chance to just like sit down. All right, here's how pitchers are attacking. I don't know who he sits down with, but they just kind of look at things like, all right, what can we take away from your first stretch of baseball at the big league level? Here's what pitchers are clearly doing to you. Now let's react and let's adjust. So I do think a break could be really good for him, more probably than any other player. But he becomes, and again, none of this is fair. I get it. I acknowledge that. I'm not saying he needs to do X, Y, or Z. I'm saying the difference in him being closer to, the kind of prospect he is versus his first foray here in the big leagues until this past week will probably be the biggest difference maker for this team versus what we expect right now. I expect Salvi to get closer to what he's always done. This isn't going to be one of his top offensive seasons of all time, but it could be a second half that is in line with a normal offensive season for Salvi. That will make a big difference, but that's not that far off, right? That's not that far off from what we've had.
Yeah, we've also seen Vinny Pasquantino turn his season around as well, to where he's a legitimate threat and continues to be that in the lineup. And Maikel Garcia has been, such a positive story this year, which, by the way, he still has not been named as a replacement in the All-Star game, which is wild to me. There was an injury. I don't remember who, maybe Jeremy Pena is not playing because of injury. And instead of naming Maikel Garcia as the replacement, they named Zach McKinstry from the Tigers as the replacement. And in every single category, Maikel Garcia has better stats than McKinstry does. Yeah. It's like, what does Maikel Garcia have to do to get on the All-Star team?
It's ridiculous. He should have been an all-star. It's too bad. I mean, they're trying to reward the Tigers because they've had such a great first half, but Garcia should be an all-star. And it sucks because you don't know if he's going to ever do this again. This should be this moment in his career that he could celebrate forever. But there's no sign of him slowing down. There's no sign of Bobby or Vinny slowing down. Historically, Garcia is above his average historically, but he's been so steady and consistent this year. And Vinny historically has a rough stretch and then is good the rest of the way. He's already done that. I'm just trying to think back, like within the offense, what we can expect. And I think we can expect closer to what we've seen lately than what we saw for 3 months over the course of a season. So what is the thing? I don't think they're going to be in the market to go add some like high level, crazy impact bat at this point. So it kind of goes back to Cags. Like, what's the difference in what they have on the roster right now? Where can they make the biggest difference? It's Salvi, which we have a long track record of. and it's Cags, which we have no track record of. And it gets back to these expectations. Now, I would say the hope would be that, everybody else kind of picks it up a little bit and they can improve that way too. But when you look up and down and you're talking about power and what we've seen versus what we could see, there's not a lot of difference. Most of these guys are right on their power numbers. The Royals are never going to be a power hitting team. It's those two guys you sort of expect it out of Salvi, and I think Cags is the unknown. And he's young, and it could not turn out to be highly successful, but it's the thing. It's the thing that could make this team a whole lot better in the second half.
As far as additions are concerned, they walk this tightrope, and the pendulum swings back and forth with every single series about whether or not they should go and add, whether or not they should put people up on the market themselves and be sellers. I mean, like it seems like with every series that goes by, the conversation shifts because the Royals are in this area where they're hovering around 500. They're a couple of games back from the wild card. One bad series makes it really difficult for them to get back into it. One really good series, they're challenging, and so that conversation can change on a dime. It can shift on a dime. But I do think that one thing that hasn't changed, and it's been this way since the offseason, and it continues to today, is they need another bat in the outfield. They absolutely have to have that.
But he is that, though. That's the difference between now and the offseason is he is the other bat in the outfield.
Yeah, but I mean, even if you look at left field, and I know Nick Lofton has come on over the last few games, which is, a nice development to see. But it's been a platoon out there. It's between Lofton, John Rave. It was Mark Canha before he went on the IL. Like Drew Waters, they sent him down. They haven't found a permanent solution in left field, and that's the one gaping hole I think in the position on the field and in the lineup is they need a bat who can play left field. And so the question then becomes, how bad do we need that, and do we need that right now, and what is that going to do for us long term? Will that push us over the edge? Because whether or not they add, if they actually go and make an impact trade, like we talked about Brian Reynolds yesterday, there are other guys that are going to potentially be on the market that they could go and look at to play left field and be an impact bat. Regardless if they add or not, the need is still there. Like the trade deadline can come and go. They cannot make a trade. They still need somebody to do that. It just is a question of how much do they need that player to be able to feel like they can accomplish what they want to.
I would say not a lot. I think, and I do think they'll, barring an epic collapse out of the break, I think they'll go find their Pham, their Gurriel, their old wily veteran that's been around that they could plug in out there to just provide a slight upgrade. That's I think pretty likely. But the reality is, like, you've got Isbell, not Jason Isbell, the singer, Kyle Isbell, the center fielder. You've got Isbell out there who provides you that thing you need pretty badly, especially when you play at Kauffman Stadium, and that's a great defensive center fielder. So there's one. And in theory, your left fielder can kind of just like can do other things for you because everybody else is solidified, essentially. Second base is kind of a rotating platoon, whether it's India or whether he's playing second base or left field. It's that the other part of that half.
Well, and when Michael Massey returns from injury, what does that look like? Where does his role play?
Well, not unless something changes. Like he was not good at all. Lofton gives you a better chance right now. Massey could do what he did last year. Yeah, he'd be the guy too. So that's what I mean. I don't know that it's. I think it'll be sort of a depth piece there to just kind of get into the mix. Because if you get Salvi's return and if Cags is better than what he has been, it's all a win, right? Either one of those things makes your lineup significantly better. That's 7 out of 9 spots. You wouldn't replace any of those 7, right? You wouldn't.
No, I wouldn't. But think about
pretty good, right? Like that's not.
Yeah. But think about too, if they go and they add, let's say they get a Brian Reynolds, for instance, who can play left field. He's not a very good defensive left fielder, but you've got Kyle Isbell who can compensate for that lack of defensive ability in left field. You're locked in. You've got a locked-in left fielder. You don't have to rotate players. He's going to be your everyday left fielder. You've got Jonathan India, who can shift to everyday second base. You don't have to worry about moving him around the field. He's locked in at second base. Michael Massey, who's not been very good when he returns from injury, can be a bench guy. Nick Lofton can be a bench guy, a pinch hitter, that sort of thing. And then at that point, you've got your lineup from top to bottom and the positions out on the field all locked in. You don't have to worry about platoons and moving guys around, and one day they're playing in this position and the next day they're out in the outfield. Like, you've got everybody kind of locked in, and I think that kind of familiarity, that kind of stability can be pretty important.
Yeah, I mean, that's a Ned Yost era thing to do. A lot of teams don't do that as much anymore. If I'm I don't know that Brian Reynolds, for the money he'll command, is worth never playing Nick Lofton, or, I just don't know if he's that kind of player. He has been in the past, but he's 30 years old.
Two-time All-Star.
He's 30 years old and he's expensive. I'm not going to say that I'll be disappointed if they made that move, because I wouldn't be. But I don't know if it's the move I would make if I was the Royals. Like, if I'm going to spend the money, I would rather have a bigger, like, power threat there, like a bona fide power threat in left, I think. But honestly, I'm fine with a rental. Like, I'm fine with a 1 year. I don't know. I wouldn't be opposed to it. I like Brian Reynolds, the player, quite a bit. I just don't know if he's the best fit, other than he plays that position. I don't know if he's a best fit for the organization, because I would hate to be sitting here thinking about his $15 million a year when they're trying to get a deal done with some of their own guys. They're going to have to get deals done. Like, I'd much rather spend that money on 2 more years of Lucas Ursig and Carlos Estevez, or Lucas Ursig and I don't know who another player would be that you could use $15 million on. That's the only reason I fear that particular move. I like the player. I'm just not sure organizationally it's the best fit right now. They're going to need to get a deal done with Vinny Pasquantino at some point. They've got some things that they need to do financially. Here's what I would rather them do: spend $15 million and find $10 million more and re-sign Seth Lugo. That's what I'd rather see him do.
Sure, but I also do think that if a move is made, and not even with the Royals, just in general, if a move is made with Brian Reynolds, the Pirates are going to have to eat some of that salary.
But they'd only eat this year's money. They're not eating the 15 you'd owe him next year. I mean, and that's the thing. And maybe Lugo is the right. It took me a minute to get out what I was trying to say, but like, $15 million for the Royals is not throwaway money. If you can use $15 million, tack on another 10 that you were willing to spend, and get a 3-year contract extension for Seth Lugo, I think that's
36-year-old Seth Lugo compared to a 30-year-old Brian Reynolds.
I'd rather have Seth Lugo than
really. Okay, they have substantial depth with the starting pitching.
Like I would rather have Seth Lugo. Yeah, okay. Yeah, for sure. But yeah, Brian Reynolds is, I'm afraid of a 30-year-old that's having his worst year ever, I guess. That's a good conversation. We'll get to that on the other side. Also, news this morning, stadium news, significant stadium news that pertains to the Royals. I'll get you that information when we return. Don't go away. More Sports Daily coming your way.
Lightning, hail, tornadoes, flooding. It's the worst of severe weather, and it's coming. Spring brings warmer temperatures, but also dangerous weather conditions. Stay up to date day or night with the Storm Team 12 weather app. You'll get accurate forecasts, so you can plan ahead and stay safe, no matter the weather. Download the Storm Team 12 weather app, brought to you by Stutzman's Greenhouse.
The future of television has arrived. Next Gen TV is here with stunning video, movie theater quality sound, enhanced voice clarity, and interactive features, all upgradable for the future. Learn more at watchnextgentv.com.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea. With 20 plus flavors of sweet and unsweet iced tea, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say drink tea, be happy.
They're not just the canvas of our imagination. They tell a story. Clouds affect the events of your day. Sometimes they growl, sometimes they inspire, but they're always the messengers of nature's mood, written in the sky. Storm Team 12 understands the language of clouds. We're dedicated to decoding their message so you know what to expect. Behind every cloud, there is a story waiting to be told. Trust Ross Jansen and Storm Team 12, alerting you first to the impact on your life.
Jim Rome here, lighting up your afternoons on The Jim Rome Show. Catch me starting at 2 on Wichita's #1 sports radio, Kansas Fan Headquarters, 97.5 and 1240 KFH.
What is GMFB Overtime?
It's Peter, Jamie, Kyle, and Akbar breaking down the NFL 5 days a week.
It's okay to be excited.
It's this, that, and a whole lot of fantasy. It's football for everyone.
Weekdays at 10 a.m. on KSCW.
Odyssey is one of the most influential audio and entertainment brands in the nation. You already know Odyssey's iconic local radio brands in Wichita. But did you know Odyssey has the country's best collection of music, news, and sports brands? Odyssey is also a premium podcast creator, major event producer, and digital innovator. Odyssey brings people together across the country and right here in Wichita. Odyssey also delivers meaningful radio and digital audio results. Find out our story and impact at odysseyinc.com/Wichita.
Make yourself known now. 83101 in traffic pursuit.
Oh my God, here.
Investigate TV Plus begins with real people.
We investigate stories that impact you
and inspire change every day.
Something is broken.
Real problems.
Why are they hiding it?
And real solutions.
My daughter was dying in front of me.
What was your reaction when he said that?
Investigate TV Plus, weekdays at 3:30 p.m. on KWCH.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea. With 20 plus flavors of sweet and unsweet iced tea, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say drink tea, be happy.
Mornings are busy. We're here to make your mornings better. We report the stories that affect you.
3 more hospital lies from contaminated apple juice just a day after the FDA issued a recall.
We're here to make your mornings better.
Closing east and westbound lanes of K96 for repairs.
With 12 News, you're prepared for your whole day.
Scattered thunderstorms across the state into the afternoon.
Stay a step ahead with 12 News this morning on KWCH and KSCW.
On KFH.
All right, welcome back in, everybody. It is Sports Daily here on KFH. Glad to be with you. Want to say thanks to our great supporters, Crestview Country Club. Tommy and I will be out there playing a little golf. It's the expectation, at least, if the schedules continue. We've made it this far. Hopefully, we can make it across the finish line of being able to play golf this afternoon. We're playing South, I think. I don't know that you and I have ever played South.
We are.
I'm really looking forward to that. I've told Tommy this before. I think the back 9 of South is my favorite of the 36 holes. I love it back there, and I never get to play back there because I can only play 9 holes ever. But we're gonna get it in today, Looking forward to it. Thanks to Crestview Country Club. Get out there and go check it out. You'll see what I mean. It's like a hidden gem back there. Nobody ever talks about it, but I think it looks great. It is great. It's, like planted in the neighborhood. It's a really cool vibe back there.
Yeah, you're not going to find another course in this area or another club that has 36 holes, and I love it because there's a change of pace. You don't have to play the same course over and over and over again. You can switch it up from, every now and then, and it's great.
Yeah, it's cool. We'll be out there. Get out there, check out the facilities, ask them about all their great different ways that you can be a member. It's not just golf. The pool is great. The activities are great. We're, tied up in the middle of a lot of it. Give Crestview a call. All right, Tommy, before we get to this stadium news, I want to make sure, because I think we're on very different pages with this. 2 scenarios, the remaining, 5 years and $75 million of Brian Reynolds, or finding a way to go, we'll call it 3 years, $25 million extension. So 3 years and $75 million for Seth Lugo. You'd take Reynolds in that scenario?
I think I would take Reynolds in that scenario, only because I know that the Royals have tremendous depth with their starting pitching. And it's not a knock on Seth Lugo. I love Seth Lugo, and I think that, if the Royals can find a way to keep him, they should definitely do that. But if you've got the option to spend the money to get an impact bat like Brian Reynolds and have him be your everyday left fielder, and then that sort of thing, the question mark about who is going to fill that position and rotating players. And I mean, the number of players they have tried at left field this season is staggering. I mean, it started with MJ Melendez, if that tells you anything, going all the way back to the start of the year. They have rotated so many different players at left field. Now, hopefully, Nick Lofton is somebody that, can stick and be your everyday left fielder if they don't end up making a move. But I do think that knowing that they've got depth in the rotation and knowing that Lugo is going to garner quite a bit of money on the market, I'd rather have that $15 million go to a guy like Brian Reynolds long-term.
Yeah, there's 2 parts of that equation that make it harder for me, because I'd take Lugo. One, I don't know the long-term health of Cole Reagans. He, arm injury, which is always alarming. And 2, Brian Reynolds has fallen off a cliff this year. And so I'd hate to have that be the
That's
new
a little harsh. I don't know if he's fallen off a cliff. He hasn't performed up to his all-star capacity, but it's not like he's horrible out there. He's not playing quite at the level that he did a year ago.
He hasn't been very good at all this year. Let me make sure I'm correct. He's got a negative WAR this year. He's batting .227 with a .662 OPS. He's been pretty bad. He has not been that different than what they've thrown out in left field.
It could very easily be he needs a change of scenery. He's been with that team for a long time. And yeah, there's a gamble with that too, but there's also a gamble that you're going to get the same Seth Lugo 2 or 3 years from now when he's 38 or 39 that you're currently getting from him.
That's right. But remember, Seth Lugo's only a new starter. So there's more tread on that tire. Reynolds, and listen, Reynolds, the 4 years prior was fantastic.
Yeah.
So I get what I say fantastic. He has in those 4 years been fantastic, and for the most part has been above average for sure. So I like the player. I think that's a big contract to eat when there are other things to do. Would you rather have, Brian Reynolds or Vinny Pasquantino at around 15 or 20 million? I mean, I think you can, and they may be able to do both. They may be able to do all of that. I don't know, especially if they can get a big new stadium that they're trying to move into. So we'll come back to that maybe in the next hour, because I do like that. I like that exercise here on July 11th. The news today is that the Royals submitted, according to a Clay County commissioner, a term sheet for a Clay County. So that is now that is as far in the real estate part of this, I believe, that they've made it at any site. So them purchasing land in Kansas is not the same. Like a term sheet is essentially, here's what we would want this to look like, and here's how we would want it to start the negotiation. Term sheets are non-binding, at least anyone I've ever dealt with, but there can be parts of them that sort of are, right? There can be exclusivity involved in that. I doubt the Royals gave them exclusivity in this term sheet. Don't know, haven't seen the term sheet, but this is just based off what one of the commissioners said. He said they just got it in a week ago. So take that for what it's worth. I think it's really interesting, a week also after the star bond is extended. And honestly, like if we're being on, where would you most, a resident of the state of Kansas, where would you most like to see the Royals?
Anywhere that's not North Kansas City. That's probably my least favorite.
I remember the renderings on this one, and this is the one that connected with the pedestrian bridge and stuff, right? I liked this rendering, but I'm unfamiliar enough. Like,
well, you mentioned as a resident of
like
the state of
downtown,
Kansas, it's the furthest away. Like if you and I are going to a game coming up from Wichita, it's probably the furthest side away of the ones that are being proposed right now would be North Kansas City.
So but it still would feel like downtown, right?
I'm not overly familiar with Clay County and North Kansas City. I've been there a little bit.
I think it was the rendering where you were just like across the street, basically from the area. Yeah, it's like across the river or something, right? From the really popular area that was connected with like a pedestrian bridge. So the answer to that question for me is probably downtown Kansas City. Like if the coolest and best place for them. Now, there's a lot of little asterisks in that, because if Kansas doesn't get the Chiefs, then you'd, as a resident of Kansas, maybe say, well, on the Kansas side, right? But if you can tell me that Kansas is going to get the Chiefs, I just assume the Royals play in downtown Kansas City, because one star bond will be enough for me. I don't know that 2 star bonds is the way that you want that to go. And maybe the Royals feel that way. Maybe the Royals are like, man, this sure does feel all about the Chiefs over on the Kansas side. Maybe we should. The problem with what I don't understand about this, as far as this term sheet and everything, and that's great that they turned it in term sheet. I don't know I don't know the Missouri law, like the state laws that were passed. I don't know enough about their processes. Is there enough money there with the new state law that they passed to give 50%? That's the part. Like, we know Kansas's, but I don't know Missouri's.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
There is so much drama on the Missouri side, and it continues. Like it went all the way back to when the public voted it down, and then the lawmakers are bickering back and forth. And then a recent development that we haven't really covered a whole lot on here is that you've got a Jackson County executive and Frank White, former Royals legend Frank White, who is apparently maybe going to be recalled from his position, and that people are going to like vote to like remove him from his
role. The people voted down the stadium.
Even though the people voted down the stadium, and he's a former Royals legend, and he's somebody that, at least at one point was beloved in Kansas City. I don't think he's that beloved anymore, and it's just there's so much drama on that side of the border. It's wild.
It's crazy. By the way, Jordan says he enjoys watching and listening to the podcast. Thanks, Jordan. We appreciate that support. Kansas has its S together far better than Missouri. I do think, though, like if you're the Royals organization, your best outcome, and again, the finances are a little different, right? Of the 50%, 70%, all of that. But I think the most impactful thing is a downtown stadium. But even as you say that, I mean, the Pirates have a beautiful stadium downtown. Nobody goes. The Padres have a beautiful stadium downtown, and it's the place to be in town. So there's some risk there. I think that it would be heavily supported in Kansas City if they got a stadium downtown. But there are also lots of teams that go to the burbs and have a lot of success too. Your Braves, my Rangers, both in the suburbs essentially, and it does really well. So there's lots of ways you can go about it. I think that I just wish I could see this term sheet. Like, how binding is a term sheet? Because you could have a term sheet that just says, here's what a negotiation needs to look like. They say, okay, but then you don't do anything with it. Or does it say, here's a term sheet. While this is out there and for this period of time, you can negotiate with nobody else, which is also possible. So, I doubt it. I doubt the Royals were willing to give that up.
Yeah,
but
I don't think they'll give away that leverage.
Yeah, but it happens. Like, it happens in that world. we'll see. I think the problem for the Royals is their decision ultimately is going to be altered or affected by whatever the Chiefs decide to do. And I don't know how good that relationship is. I don't know how much insight the Royals have with the Chiefs and what they're thinking, but they are going to be impacted by what happens with the Chiefs. There's no question about it. I mean, they just are. And so, a while ago, we thought maybe Kansas hosts the Royals and Missouri hosts the Chiefs. Maybe it's the flip-flop. And to me, that's probably a best case scenario if you're a resident in the state of Kansas. I would hate to say you risk getting neither of them, but I would rather have only the Chiefs than the Chiefs and Royals, but I would rather have the Royals than nothing.
I mean, I do think that strategy could potentially end up in the state of Kansas getting neither, right? Like if
Sure,
they go
but
for,
that's not the state of Kansas has no control over that.
but if they, let's say they go for broke to try to get the Chiefs and sort of drop off the Royals bandwagon a little bit, and the Chiefs decide to stay loyal, at that point you've moved your focus away from the Royals, and they decide to do a spot in North Kansas City or downtown or whatever that looks like. That could be a strategy. That'd be a risky one, but they could do that.
The offer's out there to the Royals. I mean, they don't have to, the offer is the offer. The Royals can come over and take the 70%. So, it's there. I don't think Kansas is doing anything to alienate itself. They may be dragging their feet with a term sheet or things in the real estate, but that's not the state anyway at that point. As far as what the state can do, I think they've done it. Here's what it is. The Royals are probably trying to, they're just trying to make their best decision. And I do think their best decision is to be downtown in Missouri. Whether it's the best financial decision is what still has to be determined. What can Clay County kick in to bridge the gap? Because the difference in the Chiefs is you're talking about a dome in Kansas or a renovation in Missouri. The renovation is less expensive. So 50% of less money could be less money for the Hunt family to front. But if you're the Royals, it's the price is, I mean, it's not the exact same, but you're building a new stadium either way. And it's going to largely probably cost around the same amount of money either way. So Kansas's offer is going to be better financially, unless you can get these counties or a city to kick in. One other thing about this, and again, it's hard when you don't live there, but I guess Clay County has been able to establish a sports authority, which is a key step in advancing major stadium development. Why? Probably because they'll have a voice with the city or the county in which they could contribute funds or lobby to contribute funds toward this. So keep that in mind as well. But that news came out early this morning or late last night, whichever way you want to look at it. We'll come back. We got another hour of Sports Daily. We're going to go back to this little discussion we're having on Reynolds Orr with contracts. That's coming up.
Lightning, hail, tornadoes, flooding. It's the worst of severe weather, and it's coming. Spring brings warmer temperatures, but also dangerous weather conditions. Stay up to date day or night with the Storm Team 12 weather app. You'll get accurate forecasts, so you can plan ahead and stay safe, no matter the weather. Download the Storm Team 12 weather app, brought to you by Stutzman's Greenhouse.
The future of television has arrived. Next Gen TV is here with stunning video, movie theater quality sound, enhanced voice clarity, and interactive features, all upgradable for the future. Learn more at watchnextgentv.com.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea. With 20 plus flavors of sweet and unsweet iced tea, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say, drink tea, be happy.
They're not just the canvas of our imagination. They tell a story. Clouds affect the events of your day. Sometimes they growl, sometimes they inspire, but they're always the messengers of nature's mood written in the sky. Storm Team 12 understands the language of clouds. We're dedicated to decoding their message so you know what to expect. Behind every cloud, there is a story waiting to be told. Trust Ross Jansen and Storm Team 12, alerting you first to the impact on your life.
Jim Rome here, lighting up your afternoons on The Jim Rome Show. Catch me starting at 2 on Wichita's #1 sports radio, Kansas fan headquarters, 97.5 and 1240 KFH.
What is GMFB overtime?
It's Peter, Jamie, Kyle, and Akbar breaking down the NFL 5 days a week.
It's okay to be excited.
It's this, that, and a whole lot of fantasy. It's football for everyone.
Weekdays at 10 a.m. on KSCW.
Odyssey is one of the most influential audio and entertainment brands in the nation. You already know Odyssey's iconic local radio brands in Wichita. But did you know Odyssey has the country's best collection of music, news, and sports brands? Odyssey is also a premium podcast creator, major event producer, and digital innovator. Odyssey brings people together across the country and right here in Wichita. Odyssey also delivers meaningful radio and digital audio results. Find out our story and impact at odysseyinc.com/Wichita.
Make yourself known now. 8-3-10-1 in traffic pursuit.
Oh my God, here.
Investigate TV Plus begins with real people.
We investigate stories that impact you.
And inspire change every day.
Something is broken.
Real problems.
Why are they hiding it?
And real solutions.
My daughter was dying in front of me.
What was your reaction when he said that?
Investigate TV Plus, weekdays at 3:30 p.m. on KWCH.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea. With 20 plus flavors of sweet and unsweet iced tea, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say, drink tea, be happy.
Mornings are busy. We're here to make your mornings better. We report the stories that affect you.
3 more hospital lies from contaminated apple juice just a day after the FDA issued a recall.
We're here to make your mornings better.
Closing east and westbound lanes of K96 for repairs.
With 12 News, you're prepared for your whole day.
Scattered thunderstorms across the state into the afternoon.
Stay a step ahead with 12 News this morning on KWCH and KSCW.
Now, from Wichita's most listened to sports radio, 97.5 and 1240 KFH. This is Sports Daily with Jacob Albrock and Tommy Kester.
All right, welcome back in, everybody. It is Sports Daily. Man, what a week. What a Friday. Hope everybody's having a great week. We're glad to be with you. Tommy, what are you showing off for us today on the runway?
Yeah, today's the Friday Fit with our friends over at 3570 Golf Code. This is the knee-high polo if you're watching our video stream. Great golf apparel. It's that time of year, and I figured you and I are going to go out and try to play some golf a little bit later on today, so I figured I would wear one of the 35x70 polos that they've got. And they've got a great selection of shirts, of hoodies, of quarter zips. They have women's apparel now, hats, head covers. And the best thing about everything that 35x70 Golf Company has is that all of their apparel embodies this part of the country, the heartland. It feels like home. It feels like this area. And so you can check out all of their designs and everything they have on their website, 35x70golfcode.com. Use the promo code Tommy, get 10% off your first order.
Love it. There it is. Go check out the cool shirts. They got a lot of them. A lot of cool stuff there on the site. We're going to get Zach Bush in, the head coach of the Aftershocks TBT basketball roster, the former Shocker roster, and some other flair from around the country this year. So we'll get Zach in coming up in just a little bit here on the show. We also will continue our conversation with the Royals. We'll get to the latest news on the NCAA tournament expansion as well. It's all what's on tap for this hour. Brought to you by the Wichita Brewing Company, locations east, west, and historic Delano, featuring a rooftop deck. Wichita Brewing Company, pizza, beer made here. We'll give a little HTO away for you. We will give a little HTO for you as well in this hour. So we've got all kinds of fun stuff coming for you. Glad to have it. All right, let's go back to this idea that just naturally, we didn't talk about this before, this Brian Reynolds situation. He's, Jarren Duran, the talks have cooled. The Red Sox have stayed good. They're probably not trading him. So Brian Reynolds becomes this player, and the jokes have been made about his no trade list being all these, good teams, and basically he just doesn't want to play in the postseason. Brian Reynolds is an interesting player. There have been times in his career that he has been, an all-star with really good seasons. His best season came back, best season by quite a large margin, came back in 2021. But even his seasons that weren't that good, every year since then, he has been an above average, if you go by OPS, is like your simple baseline. Like, he's been an above average player every year of the last 5 except this year. And this year he is well below average. He commands another, I think it's 5 years and $15 million after this year. I think it's either 4 or 5 years and $15 million after this year. That is big money for the Royals. Now, for a lot of teams, that's not bad, right? But for the Royals, that's a big commitment that he would become I think the third or fourth highest paid player on the team. I don't think he would be the third or fourth best player on the team. So you're making a financial commitment at that point if you go and make that trade. The Pirates might eat some of the money this year. They ain't eating any of the money after this year. It would be a bold move. There would be risk involved in that move for sure for the Royals, on the Royals end. Sign me up for Brian Reynolds, the good version of him. I love Brian Reynolds, the player. Until we started having these discussions, I didn't realize he had that much money on a contract. I couldn't believe it, quite frankly, that it came from the Pirates.
Yeah, but we're not talking about a guy that has shown diminishing returns for 3 or 4 years. It's been this year he has not played particularly well. And I think it's fair to give him the benefit of the doubt a little bit that he can bounce back from this. He's not in his mid or late 30s. He's 30 years old. He's not old, right? Like, he's been in the bigs for a while. He's played for Pittsburgh his entire career. There are multiple times where players just need a change of scenery. They need a new team, or they sign a contract, and then it's kind of like the team realizes, hey, we kind of locked ourselves in longer than we wanted to. Let's try to move him. And I think that's perfectly fair. And I think it's fair to expect that he'll bounce back from that. I'm not going to guarantee it. I do recognize that there's a risk here for sure, but there's always a risk in trading for a player that is, 30 or above, that is locked into a contract that person is going to, continue to regress as the years go on. And so, yeah, it's a risk. It's a risky move, but I do think it's something that could ultimately be beneficial for this team.
The risk, too, in fairness, on the Seth Lugo is the example. Like, would you rather have Seth Lugo for 23 years and $25 million, or Brian Reynolds for another 5 years, 15 a year? The risk on that is we don't know if Seth Lugo is going to re-sign for 3 years and $25 million. Like, we have no idea. It's just a fun exercise when you're talking money to look at the overall pool of money for a team like the Royals. Who might it cost you down the road to have $15 million committed to Brian Reynolds? And there are, Lugo is the guy that's coming up this offseason. Most of the other guys would be a little further down the road. Brian Reynolds and Vinny Pasquantino, as far as offensive impact, have been pretty similar. So that's interesting. And of course, Cags can play first base. So I don't think you worry about that one. I think it's what can the Royals do this offseason that would become and if you envision Brian Reynolds as an offseason move that they would be comfortable making, then yeah, it makes sense. But I said this yesterday. If the Royals are going to trade for Brian Reynolds and absorb that kind of money, they can't trade high quality players away to do it. Because if you do that and you can't re-sign some of the guys that he might cost you, you must be able to replace them internally. You can't do both, right? You can either go and make this trade and say, all right, Pittsburgh, we'll take the salary. You ain't getting much back. Like you're not getting Noah Cameron or Blake Mitchell for Brian Reynolds. That's not going to happen. We'll take the money. So and if that's the case too, and it ain't my money, like good for John Sherman. At that point, it becomes good too, but you can't do both. Like if they went and they made that trade, took on the money and traded away a top prospect, I wouldn't like that.
Yeah, I actually think that if you look at and break down what Brian Reynolds has done month by month so far this season, July has not been good for him, right? Like he is 2 for his last 30 in the month of July in 8 games played. So he has not played well. And a few of those games, we got to watch him up close and personal when they played the Royals. And he didn't have a good series against Kansas City. But if you go back to just the month of June, he was batting .256 in the month of June. So he was able to get that average and that OPS up after a really bad start to the season. But we saw June kind of come around for him somewhat. And I don't know if he collectively has ever been an extremely high average type player. But 256 in the month of June, it actually probably works out to the benefit of the Royals that he is back to slumping in the month of July, because you would think that price tag would probably be a little bit lower at that point.
I like the player. He would make a lot of sense. I just think the Royals got to be careful. Again, I don't think it's going to be anything that big. I think it's going to be small, and they're going to ride it and hope that Cags improves. I think that's what they're doing. And I think if it's a big trade, it would be away with Seth Lugo, because they would be blown away with an offer. All of it is now, though, a lot more fun to talk about for me because they're playing better. And there's not really any great pressure pulling them in any direction. Stand pat is fine. Like it's fine. I think to lose the ability to trade a guy like Lugo, but know that you're going to stay in it the rest of the season, the fans have earned that for sure. And I'm totally comfortable with that. I am totally comfortable with the Royals hanging on to Lugo and missing the playoffs. I am, because the fans have deserved that kind of chase. Now, talk to me in 2 weeks when we get to the deadline. Obviously, if disaster strikes, then that's a different conversation. I don't think that's going to happen. I think they either kind of float right around this range or they stay hot, and then we can readdress it then. But he becomes he remains, I should say, the most fascinating player involved, I think, for any team right now because of where the Royals stand. Hey, let's give away a little HTO. We'll get Zach Bush in just a couple of minutes to talk about the TBT coming up at Charles Koch Arena. But you can win some HTO right now by texting the keyword T to the short code 20357. That'll get you free iced tea. 25 different flavors of sweet and unsweet iced tea to choose from. You can get one at East Wichita, West Wichita, or in Derby. You can enter this contest once per day. Message and data rates apply. That's T to 20357. Good luck, everybody. One comment here before the break. Rick has always a lot of great thoughts on the Royals. He says, I don't think keeping Lugo and him walking is worth it and getting nothing back. I would just say, Rick, what if the Royals are in a wild card spot by the trade deadline? Would you still be comfortable trading away Lugo when you're right there? I don't think they can do that. Now, they can. If they're blown away.
I mean,
if they're blown away, they can.
Again, if they can get a high impact bat for Seth Lugo, that's going to help get them over the hump for the playoffs. Yeah, I think they do that.
Well, I think even a prospect haul is acceptable, but it's just that's a tough sell. I think it's more likely that if that's the case, they're going to hang on to Seth Lugo and try to make the playoffs. All right, we'll come back. Zach Bush, we'll talk a little TBT on the other side. Stick around.
Lightning, hail, tornadoes, flooding. It's the worst of severe weather, and it's coming. Spring brings warmer temperatures, but also dangerous weather conditions. Stay up to date day or night with the Storm Team 12 weather app. You'll get accurate forecasts, so you can plan ahead and stay safe, no matter the weather. Download the Storm Team 12 weather app, brought to you by Stutzman's Greenhouse.
The future of television has arrived. Next Gen TV is here with stunning video, movie theater quality sound, enhanced voice clarity, and interactive features, all upgradable for the future. Learn more at watchnextgentv.com.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea. With 20 plus flavors of sweet and unsweet iced tea, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite, or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say, drink tea, be happy.
They're not just the canvas of our imagination. They tell a story. Clouds affect the events of your day. Sometimes they growl, sometimes they inspire, but they're always the messengers of nature's mood, written in the sky. Storm Team 12 understands the language of clouds. We're dedicated to decoding their message, so you know what to expect. Behind every cloud, there is a story waiting to be told. Trust Ross Jansen and Storm Team 12, alerting you first to the impact on your life.
Jim Rome here, lighting up your afternoons on The Jim Rome Show. Catch me starting at 2 on Wichita's #1 sports radio, Kansas fan headquarters, 97.5 and 1240 KFH.
What is GMFB overtime?
It's Peter, Jamie, Kyle, and Akbar breaking down the NFL 5 days a week.
It's okay to be excited.
It's this, that, and a whole lot of fantasy. It's football for everyone.
Weekdays at 10 a.m. on KSCW.
Odyssey is one of the most influential audio and entertainment brands in the nation. You already know Odyssey's iconic local radio brands in Wichita. But did you know Odyssey has the country's best collection of music, news, and sports brands? Odyssey is also a premium podcast creator, major event producer, and digital innovator. Odyssey brings people together across the country and right here in Wichita. Odyssey also delivers meaningful radio and digital audio results. Find out our story and impact at odysseyinc.com/Wichita.
Make yourself known now. 83101 in traffic pursuit.
Oh my God, here.
Investigate TV Plus begins with real people.
We investigate stories that impact you.
And inspire change every day.
Something is broken.
Real problems.
Why are they hiding it?
And real solutions.
My daughter was dying in front of me.
What was your reaction when he said that?
Investigate TV Plus, weekdays at 3:30 p.m. on KWCH.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea. With 20 plus flavors of sweet and unsweet iced tea, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite, or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say, drink tea, be happy.
Mornings are busy. We're here to make your mornings better. We report the stories that affect you.
3 more hospital lies from contaminated apple juice just a day after the FDA issued a recall.
We're here to make your mornings better.
Closing east and westbound lanes of K96 for repairs.
With 12 News, you're prepared for your whole day.
Scattered thunderstorms across the state into the afternoon.
Stay a step ahead with 12 News this morning on KWCH and KSCW.
All right, welcome back in, everybody. It is Sports Daily here on KFH. Joining the show right now, Zach Bush. Zach, welcome in. How are you, man?
I'm doing good. Good morning, guys. Appreciate you having me on.
Morning.
You bet. We got the Aftershocks coming up next week. Week from today, Friday, will be the first game. We'll get to that in just a second. First, Zach, congratulations on the new day-to-day life gig. New head boys basketball coach at Mays High School takes over quite the legacy program there. You made it, man. That's awesome.
I did. It's a blessing. It came probably a lot faster than I anticipated. My wife and I had been living in Omaha the last couple of years, and Wichita State fans would just be sick to know that she was coaching at Creighton, where she played. And we actually loved the city of Omaha, but we're both from here, really missed family, and we didn't want to just jump back into anything. And so just an unbelievable opportunity opened up at Mays. And we thought, man, I don't know if there's a better opportunity out there than this to come home and to be a first-time head coach at a 6A program that's the quality that Mays is just unbelievable. So we couldn't be more excited.
Yeah, we're excited to have you back in Wichita, on a day-to-day basis, of course. What you've done over the last few years with the Aftershocks is impressive and exciting all at the same time. And we're getting ready to kick off another year of TBT action at Charles Koch Arena. I think one thing that I always take a look at and I always think about with this team and with what the Aftershocks have done is that you've been able to develop over the years a pretty great relationship, and obviously dating back a long time, but with Connor Frankamp and Frankamp running the point for you and kind of being your floor general. What is that relationship like? And of course, Connor returns it for another year with the team. How important is having his experience on the roster?
Yeah, I think first of all, the relationships are everything when it comes to TBT. Something like this, where it requires a sacrifice on the guy's part of giving up part of their limited summer, is really difficult. And so you have to have some sort of edge to where it makes it worth it. And I think not just my relationship with them, but Garrett Stutz' relationship, J.R. Simons, and then their relationship to each other. Marcus and Richard Kelly don't get to see each other a whole lot. Connor, any of the guys that have played. So I think that's a huge factor. And then when you can add in somebody that's the caliber player that Connor is and kind of have him be your lead guard, that makes all the difference. That first year, he was, when we talked about who do we need to go get, he was at the top of the list, and just the excitement that he brings. And I think it's something different, especially when he's the hometown kid. As good as you are, it's just something different when you are the hometown guy. It creates a little bit of a spark. And I think the fans were always eager to see him kind of be the Connor Frankamp of North High. I think in college he had to, based on personnel and fit and culture, he kind of had to shift a little bit his game, more of a supplemental role of, still very, very important to our success, but, more off the ball and catch and shoot and picking his spots. Whereas with this, he kind of gets to take the lead and be that Connor that fans, had so much fun watching when he was coming up in high school and when that, legend of Connor Frankamp was growing. So I think not only for the fans, but for him, it's been such a cool way to, put himself back out there in front of the community.
So it's Connor, and then the old guard continues with Marcus McDuffie, Richard Kelly, Trey Wade back in the mix, which is fun this year. And then it's a lot of guys fans probably don't know. So outside of the core, you'd call it, of the Aftershocks that have kind of been here for a while, what can you tell us about some of these other players? I know people that follow this tournament are pretty excited about the mix, but we're going to need a little education here over the next week on these new players.
Yeah, absolutely. And just full transparency, like this was a tough year. For some reason, there was a lot of conflicts. We had two other guys that were committed that were Wichita State alums that I think fans would have been excited about. And just due to signing contracts and injury, it didn't work out. And then, some other guys where, it's hard. Fans, I see the response of, well, why isn't so-and-so playing? And believe me, if you guys can think of it and it's a good option, believe me, we've asked. And, whether it's through myself, JR, Garrett, there's relationships enough where we, can ask. So it's not for lack of trying. So we kind of had to supplement this year, maybe a little more than we wanted. But on the flip side, it's incredibly talented. So it starts with probably Marcus Keene. He's a guard that fans may remember. He played for the sideline cancer team that beat us that very first year. the guy's kind of the TBT staple. TBT talks of him in that TBT Hall of Fame realm. It seems like he's just always played. He's a smaller guard, about 5'11", but man, he can shoot the ball. Kind of has a little Steph Curry to him where the dude has unlimited range. So when we grabbed him, we felt like, okay, we got a really legit second guard to go with Connor. And then unbelievable addition a few weeks to a month ago was a guy named Nike Sabande. First, I mean, just the coolest name probably I've ever heard of. If you get a guy named Nike that wants to play with your team, you should probably just say yes. So Nike played with the Pitt alumni team last year, played 3 games. They had a good group, averaged about 17 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, did a little bit of everything. Really good player, played in the first league in Spain this year, which is really high quality. Then we brought back James Woodard. James is a guy that played at Tulsa. He was on our, I think it was 2022 or 2023 TBT team, where we got to the semifinals. And James is awesome, phenomenal person, lives down in Oklahoma City here in the off season, so makes for a short drive. And then we added a big man, Chavez Goodwin. Chavez was actually on the recruiting board for Wichita State. He transferred back in, I want to say 2020 or 2021 from Wofford, was in the mix for Wichita State, and then ended up committing to USC. So he finished his career at USC. Long, wiry, big man, athletic, high energy. So he's a lot of fun. And then we kind of supplemented from there. You know, I could talk all days about these guys, but it's, again, I think one of the most talented groups, and it really plugs holes where we were missing from, you know, the Wichita State guys that we kind of struck out on.
When you have to kind of combine newcomers and the original players, your Marcus McDuffies and Connor Frankamps of the world, how much do you have to work on team chemistry and gel? And I know you have a limited amount of time to be able to get these guys together and play. Is that a major focus going into the tournament?
Yeah, it is. I think it goes back to even like when you're recruiting these guys and reaching out. You talk to other people about what's the personality like. Is there going to be a fit? Is there going to be a clash of, you know, this guy wanting to come in and be the man and him being upset, and how he feels about alumni versus non-alumni. And fortunately, you know, we've pretty much batted 1,000 on that, and it's just been guys who are high character and that they want to be part of this, and they understand that, you know, those alumni guys, not that they come first, but the spotlight is typically more on them. But when the ball goes up, I mean, it's basketball. We're playing, and our guys are competitive and want to win. So I think pretty quickly when we get into practice, the roles kind of identify themselves. It's very obvious what we need. And fortunately, our alum guys that we have are incredibly self-aware and just high quality. Like Rashard, you know, has just gotten so much better since his college years. And at the same time, he's so comfortable in himself and knows what he does and doesn't do well. So he's not going to come out on the floor and demand to have the basketball in his hand, you know, every possession. And he knows that bringing in a Marcus Keene only makes us better. So that's the exciting part, and I think where it gels a little bit more. But you certainly do, you know, it's on your radar of coming into this. How can we make this all fit? And I'll be honest, it's not the easiest to keep 10 guys happy. I mean, it never is going to be. Basketball is a game where, you know, the easiest rotation is 7 to 8 guys. So when you add another 2 into that, and how do guys feel like they're valued and making a difference? Because in this tournament, it could change game to game. A guy that didn't play the very next game based on situations and who you're playing in matchups maybe end up playing 25, 30 minutes. So there's definitely a lot of maybe feel like an NBA coach at times. Like, how do I keep all these guys happy? But yeah.
Splitting a milli will cure what ails them.
Exactly.
Just win it.
Yep.
It is Zach Bush here, head coach of the Aftershocks TBT, coming a week from today, Charles Koch Arena. It will be a little different this year. Kansas City got a regional. Part of the fun for Charles Koch Arena has been at times some combination of, or sometimes both, having a KU and K-State alumni team. That's not going to happen this year. What do you think that does? I mean, you guys have had such a tremendous home court advantage no matter who's playing here, but elsewhere when you're not playing, I think it probably has an impact this year.
Yeah, I would agree. I'm not naive to it, and I'm not going to pretend like they didn't bring something special, because they absolutely did, and would have loved to have had them back, you know, year after year. But they're, I think, big enough, I suppose, where, you know, there was an understandable reason why they would want to go kind of break off and try to have their own host site. I think we always all three parties, whether it was the K-State group, us, the KU group, the dream was that one of us would match up. And it's just crazy that it never happened. And last year, that was probably our fault. We felt like we kind of let one get away, the second round game to the Colorado team, because then we would have played the KU group in that regional final. So disappointed that that never turned out, but happy for them. They're awesome guys that run that, both groups. We'll definitely miss them. It was a special feel when you walk in and, the K-State or KU team is playing before us, and you've got a mix of purple, blue, gold, yellow, all up in the stands, and you walk in and there was a special energy. So that'll definitely be missed. At the same time, excited that we get to be selfish and it's all about us. And we don't have to share the spotlight maybe this year, but they'll definitely be missed. We wish them nothing but the best, and we know they'll host a great regional up there. And fortunately, the winner of that Kansas City regional and Wichita Regional will match up for a quarterfinal game. So hoping that this is the year we get, a KU versus Wichita group in the roundhouse for the quarterfinal. How sweet would that be?
Well, yeah, and speaking of home court advantage and all of that, and with those regionals, there's an incentive, I believe. Walk me through how this works. Like, if whatever regional sells the most tickets, how does that work?
Yeah. So they had kind of gotten feedback this last year. There was a lot of feedback from GMs of, hey, this is really difficult when you play 3 games or whatever, and then you've got to fly to another site. What if, is there a way to get more kickback or keep it more regional? And what they came up with is this idea that you take the 8 regional sites, and all regional sites have a host team. Some have 2 host teams. And what they came up with was whichever host site that you're paired up with next for the quarterfinal, if you were to win, it now comes down to who was the fastest to sell 4,000 tickets. So you have all of those 8, and it gets ranked. Okay, the first team was, I believe, either Louisville or Kentucky, one of the 2, and then the other was the other Louisville, Kentucky group. And then it keeps moving on. We're still in a race to try to get there. Typically, our fans are kind of more last minute, so we feel like we'll get there eventually. But this is a cry. We need you guys. Because now there is this opportunity to continue to host. So even if we won, say we win the regional, we play the group from Kansas City that wins, that game would be played here. If we were faster to sell 4,000, the next round, same thing continues. And then the caveat is, if Louisville or Kentucky or whoever would come here next, if they lose and they're out, it would then go to us again. So really exciting there. I think something the fans had asked for previously was, well, why don't you host the tournament here? It's a phenomenal turnout. We clearly host NCAA tournaments, both men's and women's. So I think this is a community that can support something like this. So they've gotten what they asked for. Now, we would just ask that they show up and continue to support as they've always done.
Well, the tickets are there. You can go to the tournament.com. Wichita State, the Aftershocks, I should say, plays the first game at 8 o'clock on Friday, a week from today. You guys are the 2 seed in that particular setup. So we'll see what happens there. We're looking forward to it. I love the format. Have you started lobbying Keisha yet to implement the Elam ending?
I'm trying, young first-time head coach. They're just not listening. I said, why don't we just get rid of clocks and, go to that? But, we'll see.
Well, I'll fully support you. I don't even I'm not even joking. I think
it
the
is
Elam
awesome.
ending is better.
It's a blast. It's a blast. Hey, it's baby steps. We're in Kansas. We got the shot clock. All right, baby steps.
Anybody not using the shot clock
this year for 5 and 6A, everybody's using shot clock, and now in the state tournament as well, which is awesome. That was just I get there's reasons, but last year I think it was kind of crazy to use it for the season, and then you're not going to use it at the most important time. And so we got there. And coming from Nebraska, they were using it, for a couple of years with everything. So I'd really gotten used to it. So I'm excited about that.
It's fantastic. We're looking forward to it. You guys are going to put on a show. You always do. Get some wins. You can go get your tickets. Remind the KU and K-State. I'll just put this call out to fans around here. Remind them of why it was so special. I've got a gut feeling the Kansas City Regional is not going to hit like the Wichita Regional. Maybe it will, but bring them back next year. Have a big turnout this year and bring them right on back down here. Zach, we appreciate it. Good luck next week. We'll be following along as we always do. I love it. I love the format. I think it's a lot of fun.
Thank you guys. Appreciate your support, and it's great to talk to you.
There goes Zach Bush, head coach of the Aftershocks, new head coach of the Maize Eagles, which is awesome.
How about
that? So
that?
fun. Getting him back down here and I have become a big fan. The timing of it, Tommy, is great. When this tournament is played, it's like right when we need it. Next, like right when you need something on the sports calendar to sort of bridge us to football, and like the timing of it is as important as anything. I do think that I hope that the KU and the K-State alumni teams regret their decision for a KC regional.
You know what I love about it, and we're in what? How many years have we been doing this? 5 or 6 years?
It feels like forever. Like
Something
6?
like that. There was like I felt like early on, kind of the novelty of it. Like, okay, like we're gonna see some of the old guys from Wichita State play. Okay, cool. Like it's an exhibition, whatever. It's been legitimized. Is that a word? It's been the legitimacy has grown to the point to where like it's a legitimate event.
The
now.
first time you watch a game, you're like, oh, never mind. Like this is like this is awesome.
100%. I'm a huge fan. I love it.
I'll never forget it was either the first or the second year we had a Chelsea Croft, who worked for K-Witch for a long time. She was in for an interview. And I just was like, hey guys, like, can we get her? And so basically, like, as a part of her in-town interview, I was like, we're going to run up to Coke Arena. It's got an event going on there. It'll give you a little bit of a vibe. And we walk in and we're sitting there, and it was like one of the out where they had like 7,000 people, and they were just losing it for the Aftershocks. And I just kind of looked over and I'm like, you should see it in college basketball season. And she, like, it was part of the reason she chose to come here. Like, part of the reason she chose to take the job.
Some of it too. I mean, let's be real. It's, Wichita State basketball, actual Wichita State basketball has not been phenomenal. I mean, and so you can sort of, relive the glory
scratched
days,
an itch. Yes.
Right. Like, and it harkens back to a time when the Shockers were winning conference titles and going to March Madness and all of that. And you've got those players that everybody knows and as Shocker legends, and Connor Frankamp and Trey Wade, Marcus McDuffie, like those guys, that's a huge appeal to it.
Yeah, the glue guys, McDuffie, Rashard Kelly, Connor Frankamp are back. Wade is back with the Aftershocks, which is great. Jordan says it's the top. It's a top 2 Aftershocks roster he's seen. I'll take Jordan at knowing that. The only other player that I sort of know something about, just because I remember him, is Marcus Keene. But I think it looks fine. It just it lacks a little of the local flair, and that's okay. That's all right.
Well, and I think the one thing to keep in mind too is that these guys are not getting any younger, right? Like Connor Frankamp is not getting any younger. So let's enjoy this while we can, because who knows how much longer it's going to be able to have the local feel to it. Having these guys on the roster, now's the time to get out and support it.
Yeah, it will be a fun year. Hopefully the crowds are as big as ever, because it is going to be a good team. The Aftershocks crowds should remain great. Again, it's a week from today. The Aftershocks play that first game, 8:00 next Friday night. You can go get tickets at tbthoops.com. There's a couple different sites, but you can find the tickets. It's not that hard if you'd like to go. And again, like they're fun. Like, just as a personal, 100% personal opinion, the games are a lot of fun. The Elam ending is incredible. At minimum, watch it on TV. If you've never seen it, you'll see what we're talking about. It's wild. All right, we'll come back. We got more Sports Daily. What's the latest on the NCAA Tournament expansion? We'll have that next for you.
Lightning, hail, tornadoes, flooding. It's the worst of severe weather, and it's coming. Spring brings warmer temperatures, but also dangerous weather conditions. Stay up to date day or night with the Storm Team 12 weather app. You'll get accurate forecasts, so you can plan ahead and stay safe, no matter the weather. Download the Storm Team 12 weather app, brought to you by Stutzman's Greenhouse.
The future of television has arrived. Next Gen TV is here with stunning video, movie theater quality sound, enhanced voice clarity, and interactive features, all upgradable for the future. Learn more at watchnextgentv.com.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea. With 20 plus flavors of sweet and unsweet iced tea, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say drink tea, be happy.
They're not just the canvas of our imagination. They tell a story. Clouds affect the events of your day. Sometimes they growl, sometimes they inspire, but they're always the messengers of nature's mood written in the sky. Storm Team 12 understands the language of clouds. We're dedicated to decoding their message so you know what to expect. Behind every cloud, there is a story waiting to be told. Trust Ross Jansen and Storm Team 12, alerting you first to the impact on your life.
Jim Rome here, lighting up your afternoons on The Jim Rome Show. Catch me starting at 2 on Wichita's #1 sports radio, Kansas Fan Headquarters, 97.5 and 1240 KFH.
What is GMFB overtime?
It's Peter, Jamie, Kyle, and Akbar breaking down the NFL 5 days a week.
It's okay to be excited.
It's this, that, and a whole lot of fantasy. It's football for everyone.
Weekdays at 10 a.m. on KSCW.
Odyssey is one of the most influential audio and entertainment brands in the nation. You already know Odyssey's iconic local radio brands in Wichita. But did you know Odyssey has the country's best collection of music, news, and sports brands? Odyssey is also a premium podcast creator, major event producer, and digital innovator. Odyssey brings people together across the country and right here in Wichita. Odyssey also delivers meaningful radio and digital audio results. Find out our story and impact at odysseyinc.com/Wichita.
Make yourself known now. 83101 in traffic pursuit.
Oh my God, here.
Investigate TV Plus begins with real people.
We investigate stories that impact you.
And inspire change every day.
Something is broken.
Real problems.
Why are they hiding it?
And real solutions.
My daughter was dying in front of me.
What was your reaction when he said that?
Investigate TV Plus, weekdays at 3:30 p.m. on KWCH.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea. With 20 plus flavors of sweet and unsweet iced tea, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say drink tea, be happy.
Mornings are busy. We're here to make your mornings better. We report the stories that affect you.
3 more hospital lies from contaminated apple juice just a day after the FDA issued a recall.
We're here to make your mornings better.
Closing east and westbound lanes of K96 for repairs.
With 12 News, you're prepared for your whole day.
Scattered thunderstorms across the state into the afternoon.
Stay a step ahead with 12 News this morning on KWCH and KSCW. AFH.
All right, welcome back, everybody. It is Sports Daily. Glad to be here with you on this Friday. Thanks to Zach Bush for stopping by. If you missed anything, getting us ready for the TBT, you can go back and listen on the Odyssey app always. It gets podcasted out, and that's a great way to tune into the show. We know a lot of people do, and we appreciate it anyway that you take in the program here. Tommy, the NCAA tournament expansion that we talked at length about yesterday is basically, it sounds like, sort of tabled for a year. We know it's a money play. I still think it's probably unavoidable. One financial component, though, that is sort of gaining a little more steam is there is some risk to the bids being worth less with expansion. Now, I would tell you that if those bids lose their value, this is far less appealing financially, I think, for the universities. Then it becomes just like a money play for the NCAA. The money play on this that makes sense is that the bids have equal value to what they currently have, and more schools can get them. But if it diminishes what you can get, then I don't know that that's a better financial outcome for the universities. And at that point, you tell the NCAA to shut the hell up, because like you can't have an outcome here where you potentially get less money. Like that doesn't make any sense.
I mean, if there's a big pool of money for 68 teams or 64 teams,
right,
and that's divvied up amongst 64 or 68, and that number stays the same, but it goes to 76, then every school's going to be getting less money. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. On top of it, one of the other things that we talked about yesterday that I know we briefly mentioned it, but I think that there's legitimacy to this, is that it devalues the conference tournaments and the amount of money potentially that these schools can make in the conference tournaments and the way that all that works and everything. I think that's a real risk as well. Because if you're all of a sudden, it doesn't really quite matter what you do in the conference tournament, and you could be a team hovering around 500 and play maybe in the opening round of a conference tournament and then get bounced, but you're still going to make it in the NCAA tournament. I do think that's a pretty important factor of this entire thing as well.
Yeah, I just assumed with expansion that it would just be in addition to, right? Like in addition to, the bids are the same, and now you have more of those bids to give. If it that makes no sense for anybody. It really doesn't. Like that's at that point, that's typical NCAA garbage at that point. I don't even know why are you even having the discussion if it waters down the pool of money?
Well, I also do think on top of it all that at the end of the day, you know who's going to tell the NCAA whether or not this is valuable? It's going to be CBS and Turner. Like they're going to be the ones that tell the NCAA, yeah, we need to go to 76 teams because we think we can make X amount of dollars.
Not even CBS and Turner exclusively, but if there have to be discussions like, is there an appetite, CBS and Turner, to add a handful more games? If the deal
they already throw the first 4 games on True TV, by the way.
Right. And so you have to have multi-layered discussions here. CBS and Turner, can we get more for that? Okay, that has to be one part of it, and then the other part. And I assumed all this had already happened, or we wouldn't be having this discussion, because you walk into the room and there's idea is presented and it doesn't immediately come with, and there will be this many more dollars, then go ahead and walk out of the room, because otherwise nobody wants an expansion. Like nobody wants an expansion if it doesn't mean more money. The schools nobody would want that, right? The fans don't want it. But maybe the schools do because it tries to help solve this financial issue they're facing.
You know who would want it? The major conferences, because if you're here's why. This is why I think, because let's say I'm Greg Sankey with the SEC and I got 12 of my teams into the tournament, and they're making, I'm just throwing a number out, they're making $1 million, right? So $12 million is going to the SEC. Pull that number out of thin air. If it goes to 15 of the SEC teams at $800,000, that's more money collectively in the conference.
But the schools don't get money from the conference. If I'm Alabama, who's been a top seed,
the perception is
no.
You're right, but the perception is that the conference collectively is bringing in more money with more teams, more of their teams in the tournament.
I get it, but the NCAA is governed by the schools, not by the conferences.
I know.
And so
the question is, who would be in favor of this? I could see the major conferences.
I don't know that they would be if it waters down the money. Otherwise, major conferences would expand all the time. The reason they don't is because their TV deals get watered down, right? Like They don't do that because the schools don't want that, because it potentially waters down their TV deal. It's not that much different. What I assumed was happening is whatever this play-in tournament looks like becomes a more valuable entity, right, than it is currently. So let's say instead of the first 4, it would become what would it become potentially? The first
12.
8 or the first 12?
12, the
Right?
first 12. Yeah.
The first 8 or 12, whether it goes
Right.
to 72 or 76 teams, that particular entity now becomes a valuable asset that adds the total dollars in. So these extra teams getting these bids are getting the dollars. I think that whether that's CBS and Turner, okay, I doubt it, right? More likely, my thought was it goes to a secondary network now. Like, can you get some agreement between CBS Turner and ESPN, for example, and then ESPN, instead of the NIT, broadcast these first 12, these first 12 teams and whatever that format looks like, that becomes then a separate valuable entity that can then add the same amount of dollars, right? You just grow it a little bit. I don't, it's an absolute non-starter financially if it doesn't do that.
Yeah, you were talking yesterday also, you were throwing out some names of teams that, this could potentially have benefited, that are mid-major teams if they had expanded the tournament this last season. And it's interesting because the NCAA really heavily touted record-breaking ratings for the first 4 games in 2025. But if you go back and you actually dig into it and you look at the teams that played in the first 4, if you remember, UNC was in the first 4. There was a matchup between UNC and San Diego State. There was a matchup between Texas and Xavier in the first 4. So the argument, going back to what we talked about yesterday about how there's been this, the word access floating around about how this is going to open up the door for other schools to get bids. That's not the purpose of this. This would be for the NCAA and the networks to be able to give more bids to higher profile mediocre teams in major conferences, to allow them to play on a Tuesday or a Wednesday night in the first 4 to help get ratings. It's not going to open the door for smaller conference teams that are on the bubble or maybe right off the bubble that could get in potentially, because those teams, like, yeah, I keep going. I just had this school burned into my brain from yesterday. It's not going to be a UC Irvine. Like, that's not going to drive ratings in these opening games. It's going to be mid-range schools in the power conferences.
It is, but there will be, my point in all that was the last year it would have been UC Irvine. So yes, it is going to heavily skew to what you're saying, but there will still be some better than net zero opportunities for teams that maybe were outstanding all year and had one stumble in their conference tournament. That will happen from time to time. It's not going to be the majority. It's not going to be half. It's probably not even going to be a third, but it'll be sometimes. And so I think my point was, for those schools where that happens to them, they would win in that scenario. But again, none of that has anything to do with why they want to expand the tournament. In reality, they can say that all day. It's not true. What's true is it's a money thing. But if that money waters down, then it's not a money thing. It doesn't make any sense for these schools that know they're going to get there, right? Which is probably, what would you say, 70% of them? 70% of these teams know they're reaching the NCAA tournament. Maybe that's too big of a number, but even if it's 50%, they don't want a watered down total so that they can have tournament expansion. No, that doesn't make any sense at all. If you're Kansas, would you like this idea? Absolutely not.
No way.
Because you're going to get in anyway. You don't want a watered down number. So they have, this will be a non-starter until they make that, if they don't make that the same amount of money, just at a larger number of, then that nobody's going to want that. Nobody's going to want that. Rick Pitino said, don't mess with it. And then he quickly was like, let's fix the transfer portal. What are we doing? Why are we wasting our time with this? Let's work on that.
Yeah. And I think this goes back to the NCAA being, completely having its priorities out of whack. And they have for a long time, right? Like nobody is clamoring for this. This is not anything that is like egregious out in the open where every year people are like, man, we're wasting time here with the tournament at 68 teams. It needs to go. Like nobody is bringing this up, and the NCAA is focused on it while there are things that are burning and need reform and need guardrails. And it's like, no, don't look there. Look over here. We want to expand the tournament. That nobody's asking for this. They want you to fix the transfer portal. Rather than lobbying against players making money, let's make that effective and real and legitimate and stable long term, as opposed to, you know what, forget about that. We're not even going to focus on that. We're going to expand the tournament. Nobody cares. Nobody wants that. Nobody's asking for you to do that.
Yeah, and if you're asking schools to take less money because of it, I mean, literally nobody wants it. No, nobody wants it. I mean, maybe UC Irvine wants it. Kind of just like, come on. What are we doing here? So that didn't anyway. The news of the day yesterday is they tabled it basically for a year. I still think it's coming, but until they can make a significantly different financial contribution to the game, there's no urgency to it at all.
Is there another organization in sports that is as ineffective as the NCAA is? Because I don't know if
apparently the NFL Players Union is.
Yeah, that's a
I don't
good
know
point.
if you've seen any of that news coming
that's a
out
good point.
lately. Holy hell.
Yeah.
You're talking about absolute, like, what? Like conflict of it. Like, oh my, I don't know how much people have been following that. Goodness gracious. Like, how does that happen? And it happens all the time. Like these just severe, like outrageous conflicts of interest. Yeah, if you want another organization, the NFL Players Union.
I actually had a brief amount of slight optimism and hope when Charlie Baker took over from Mark Emmert. I'm like, okay, like a little bit, fresh leadership or whatever. And it's
just not that important anymore. The new stuff, the College Sports Commission, the power to the conferences is far more important. The NCAA, I suppose, because they organized this tournament, could come in and say, well, this is our deal and you can either play in it or not. But the NCAA is made up of people that the schools put in charge. So, no, come on now. All right, we'll come back. We got a little more Sports Daily for you. Don't go away.